Yo, this is all in. I got here 10:30. They were already shooting. So I got here 10:30. They were already shooting. I watched them make 94 out of 100. I appreciate that, though. I watched them make 94 out of 100 before I even started taping. I wasn't even taping. And the crazy part is, right? The crazy part is, he got a jump shot, like a real jump shot, like a real pull up. That shit ain't normal. You know what I mean? But he worked. Like, this is not something that he was born with. This boy works harder than any kid I ever had. Like, just works. Now, he needs to work on his ball handling. He got a ball handling joint. I'm gonna show y'all later, but god damn. Lil, he shoot 50% though. Boy had 50 against IMG. He had 41 against Harkin. He don't miss. Now how he practice, I feel you. He might need lower lift, whatever. But this is 300 going his 300 rotation, and he's still stroking that shit like water. Now, I'm not saying he the best shooter I ever had, but he's close to it. Now I feel you on how guys practice and shoot. I don't know. Well, I don't think he practiced the same game, same shot that he always do in the game. But that's how that shit go in. So he obviously know his body. You know what I mean? Now he's still shooting at a high clip after 300. But this is what you got to do to become a shooter. Like, you know, just the effort of his father rebound is unbelievable. You know what I mean? I don't care what you say. The effort of the rebound and somebody just to feed you the ball, not no shoot machine and all that, you know. Shoot machine is a distraction because of the net. You know what I mean? But when you got that shit real, and then the analytics prove what you can do. You know what I mean? It's the analytics. You know what I mean? Now watch this. Now watch what the prop do. See that heavy ball he got right there? Look, and he ain't bitching, ain't no, you know what I mean? Ain't no, you know what I mean? But that's that work that all these kids need to put in. Not just the kids, but the fathers, man. It's, yo, say what you want. You know what I mean? You got a father that's willing to rebound for you and willing to tell you push, push, push. And the kid wants it just as bad as the father, you know, that's half the battle. And Lil, you know the deal. Like, you know, tell your father I do be watching his church services too. You might not think it, but I do be watching the joints. And I hope his church get bigger. So you adding a little singing to it too, so, you know what I mean? So you got, you know, I just keep it real with real people, you know what I mean? People think I don't pay attention to them, but, you know, just because I don't say anything don't mean I ain't watching. Now, I don't know what he's going to do on this one. I'm going to just leave it up for a little bit longer, though. I ain't going to, You know what I mean? I know this motherfucker tired because he on 300 shots right now, and his pop using the heavy ball. So I know he beat. But it's the grind. You know what I mean? Like that's what I was trying to tell people. Where people thought one time they might have been better or who's better, man, there's always somebody working in the lab, man. There's always somebody getting that shit in. There's always somebody that's no nonsense, like you say, Mo, no talking, just putting in that work daily, coming, don't care who else is here, don't call nobody. I'd be like, Bernie, call some people, come tell them we got practice. Man, he don't be calling nobody. You know what I mean? So he's selfish in the right ways to get what he want out the workout. Now, I don't have to be here. Matter of fact, I was supposed to be in Vegas, but that didn't work out. And, by coming here watching this, let me turn it around because you're taking a break. But by coming here watching this, it just, makes me realize how much I love the game, the process. It's the process. It's the process. Now, he's not shooting with the heavy ball, James. But he's holding it. So when he runs with his opposite hand, he holds it in his opposite hand as he's dribbling, right hand, left hand, whatever he's doing. This is more his father stuff. It's not like we do a lot of this kind of shooting, don't get me wrong, but this is what him and his father does. But that's what I'm saying. Like when you're blessed to have a basketball person next to you that have his experience, that's why I'm saying like coaches, if you're recruiting kids, it's easy to recruit a kid who has a basketball family or basketball background than it is to recruit a kid that doesn't, because you know what you're going to get from the kid. So what happens when you're recruiting a kid, you tend to know what his habits are going to be. You know what I mean? So like I'm watching some of these transfer portals and all this kind of shit. Who got what? I'm beginning to call certain schools, but I'm very careful where I'm sending them because he's not going to he's going to take somebody's job. Like if he went to Temple, LaSalle, St. Joe's, or Temple, LaSalle, St. Joe's, or not Villanova, even Villanova. We might fuck around and start at Villanova because the motherfucker can play. I didn't know how to work the legs. Is it stable? So to me, this is probably the thing he needs to work on most. Is probably his ball handling, and he's not a player. Thanks. Yeah, he's not a player. Yeah, excuse me. I'm gonna take this case off so I can put the thing in the tripod. My bad. Yeah, he's not a player that's going to kill you off a million ball handling moves and stuff like that. But what he has, he's crafty. He has pretty good footwork. He's crafty. He has pretty good footwork. And hold on, let me back up. Yeah, so what I was saying before, he's crafty enough to get away with not being blessed with a so-called great handle. So you have certain guys that's blessed with great handles. For example, you got like Sewell. Sewell has a great hesitation move where he can, get away with just making a nice little hezzy and then be able to get away from defense. Bernie has speed. He needs to work on more of a hesitation, but has it. But he's not going to make a dribble move and beat you off the dribble. Now, are we working on it? Of course we're working on it. Are we working on giving him that one dominant move that he can call his go-to? Of course we're doing that. But meanwhile, you can't stop working on other things where it's going to affect your game. Like you can't spend 3 hours on a dribble move and not put the time in on what he does best, because what you do best is what's going to separate you. So if you got that, let's say we did the shit in the reverse, and you got a guy, quote unquote, that's a very good ball handler but can't put the ball in the ocean. That's not going to help nobody, because that's not going to balance his game out. I mean, think about it. In a college game, you're only allowed a certain amount of dribbles. So if you only allowed a certain amount of dribbles, then, you got to have impeccable footwork. You know what I mean? And then you got to have enough strength and enough firepower to be able to score and keep the defense away from you. Now, if you look at college basketball, you look at the pro game on how everything is changing, it's all about making shots, bro. Making plays and making shots. Now, I'll be honest with you. Bernie is a great layup shooter. Not a good one. A great one for his size and his height. He's a great layup shooter. And I'm going to repeat that. He is a great layup shooter. So when you have a layup package and then you can finish around the rim with people on you, and you can pull up and do all these different things, you know what I mean? So think about it. Rick, every move he makes is going to his left. He's very dangerous going to his left. So I see where his father's going with this drill. And then a lot of the stuff that we've been doing in the half court, like even the games where he had 50, he had that shit in the half court. Like he didn't have no cherry picking points. And then like the game against Harkham, and I condensed the game so y'all can see them. I'm gonna put the condensed games up. Well, all y'all seeing is the actual scoring. But considering that Harkham pressed him and tried to trap him every single time, and he still had 41, that's impressive. I don't give a fuck who you are. That's impressive. And then IMG, they put the big boy from LSU, 6'5" guard on him. Strong, athletic, long arms. He played impeccable defense. And Bernie had 50. The reason he had 50 is because when you can move the ball and swing the ball and get the ball to guys and then be able to get the ball back and guys know what you can do. I mean, he had good teammates, and they found him. And if they didn't find him, if the man wasn't on him, hand down, man down, he's knocking that shit down. You know what I mean? So when you start looking at basketball and you say, okay, well, why are you saying he's a moneymaker? Well, he's a moneymaker, number one, because he makes shots. Number two, he makes shots at a very high level. And it doesn't matter what players are in the game. It doesn't matter how big you are. It doesn't matter if you're 7 foot, 6'11", 6'6", long arms, athletic. It really doesn't matter, because this dude has no fear of shooting over people and no fear of being able to knock down a shot. Like, he can miss 2-3 shots in a row and then turn around and knock down his next 5 or 6. I mean, I saw one game, I swear to God, I didn't think he was gonna make a shot. You know what I mean? Because they were playing him 1-3-1. And with a 1-3-1, you have guys overplaying the wing, and then you had the middle guy that was stepping up. And he didn't know how to attack it at first. You know, he didn't realize that, you know, the guys are trying to overplay the wings, but how they played the 1-3-1, they trapped the point guard. So they gave up the corners for us to shoot. And DME was probably a top 5 team in the country this year. And by the time we figured it out, we were down too many points to come back. By the time we figured it out, and I got my corner guys shooting the ball, it was late. It was late in the game. You know what I mean? So it was kind of, a tough situation, that particular game. But everybody else, still had 20-something, still had 25, something like that. But, you know what I mean? It was tough because there was no penetration going on. It was all ball swing, and they were letting other guys hurt us, not Bernie. So coaches got smart towards the end of the season. And it shows because, you look at some of the videos, we had 800, 600 likes, 600 people that viewed the videos, and I didn't even put the video out. It's just how people scout other teams. And, I didn't realize it was so sophisticated at the prep school level where you would spend that much time looking at a team, seeing what they do in order to beat a team. So a lot of these teams knew our plays. We had to literally mid-season modify our whole offense and kind of get other guys, because we went from having 3 good guards to having 1 guard. And Bernie wasn't necessarily our best point guard in the beginning, but towards the end of the season when the other guys got hurt, he became our only guard, where he eventually became our best point guard. Now, because he was forced to play the point, it put a lot of pressure on him because he had to play the point and then had to score because our other guards could score too. And they went down early. One with a groin, one with a rib. Now, our bigs, we were fortunate enough to have enough bigs that can hit the ball, hit the shot from the perimeter. We had a 6'9" kid that was knocking that shit down. We had another 6'9" or 6'8" kid that was knocking it down. And they could actually one of them could put the ball on the floor a little bit. Then y'all know AJ was a horse inside. And then Rodney was like a 6'6" utility player. But, it helped us throughout the season. But it came back to bite us at the end because we didn't have enough where teams figured out how to trap, how to get the ball out of his hands. And then our offense, this might have been the worst offensive team that ran motion. People know, if you ever played for me, we run like a motion offense with pass, cut, move, blah, 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 blah. This might be the worst team that ever ran it, but it was easy for guys that could play. You know what I mean? So when you can play, it was a lot easier to run the offense and do what you need to do, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, Jay, you know who I want, Jay. I need you. I was going to call you last week because I finally got free. But I want to have that meeting sooner than later. And I'm going to tell you something. If I get the right pieces, I might be in the top 10 next year if I get the right pieces, because I got some good pieces coming back. And I got some good pieces coming in. So, with the right kind of kids and the right kind of situation, our schedule next year is crazy because, we did well enough now to be accepted. And you know how that is. You got to prove yourself, I guess. And, when people feared us or wasn't scared of us before, they fear us now. You know what I mean? Because they know that we got some pieces. You know what I mean? If you get the right kind of pieces. I'm looking at some of these guys. I'm going to keep it a bean with you. I'm looking at some of these guys that we got, right? I feel if you got a player at a school and that player is not doing what you think he's capable of doing, you cannot be afraid to move or change that environment, no matter how comfortable it is, because there's a short-term goal and there's a long-term goal. Short-term goals are winning, let's say, the Catholic League Championship or the PIAA districts of the states. They're short-term goals. Long-term goals is I'm going to the college that I want to go to. And then obviously ultimate goals are I want to be an NBA player. But if you don't put yourself in these situations, you're just going to be a role player. And if you're cool with being a role player, that's for each his own. But I would assume that the average kid would want to be an NBA player. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, if your goal is to, you know what I mean, is to try to make money, then you got to figure out how to make money. And making money doesn't mean that you playing with another guy that's averaging 30, 40 points or not giving you the ball or you not touching the ball. Like we were talking about Justice. And people say, well, he made a mistake by going to Montverde and blah, 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 and on and on and on. He didn't make a mistake by not going to Montverde. First of all, he was on the court when Roman wasn't even allowed in the gym in Florida. That's number one. Number two, he's working out with guys that are potential pros or high-level college players. Not little Ricky and little Jimmy that was happy to be on the bench, and the starters are beating up on the bench guys. So if you ever play basketball, you'll realize a lot of your skill level doesn't come from the games. It comes from the practices. So when you're looking at how you're getting better, you only gonna get better by practicing the shit you're gonna do in the games. And don't get me wrong, anybody can hit threes. But not people can hit threes with a hand in their face. Not people can hit threes at a high number clip. And not everybody can hit threes where they can extend the defense and make them from basically anywhere inside the half-court region. So I'm looking at schools like Drexel, LaSalle, Temple, St. Joe's, and saying, are they not looking at what I'm sending them? Are they not seeing what I see? And and believe me, I don't give a fuck who Temple got on their roster. Nigga, you only scoring 40 points. Schools like Ryder, schools like, well, Mama's calling, but Fordham, all these type of schools, man, they should be knocking down this dude's door because there's nothing else out here like this, period. I've seen it all. And this is my argument even with these scouts. If you don't go outside the area, then you don't know what's out here. You have not seen Montverde live and up close. You have not seen West Oaks. You have not seen Mikey Williams' team or Elijah Fisher's team or this team or that team. We in the same gyms. We in the same tournaments. We in the same everything. Those are just the high school team. I'm not talking about postgrads. Because we played the number 1, the number 2, the number 4, the number 6, the number 7, the number 10. We play all these top teams. You know what I mean? I'm not here to, like I said, I'm not here to shit on no programs or no kids or nothing. I'm here to tell you that there's another basketball arena that's out there that a lot of guys aren't seeing because they're not willing to go beyond the EYBL or the Under Armour circuit or even some of the hoop group shit. Like they think that every kid just has to play AAU, and I think that's the downfall to this whole thing. Every kid shouldn't have to play AAU. A kid should be able to play in a game against good players and stand out, because that's how that shit was back in the day. We didn't always have Kobe every single game. But guys like Jimmy Dillon, and Jimmy is the perfect person to explain this. Little Jimmy Dillon was little Jimmy Dillon at Holy Ghost Prep. The only school that offered him was Ursinus. One of them bad. Same with John Linehan, same thing. Ursinus, I give Ursinus credit. They had a great recruiter back in the day, and this motherfucker had an eagle eye for talent, and he made people believe that nobody else is going to want you. Come to Ursinus. And I'll tell you something. That was a good move. Now, part 2 to this, right? Jimmy played AAU in the spring. It took one coach to see our vision. And I'm in our vision. You see this little white kid throwing dimes, crazy dimes. Like Jimmy was an unbelievable passer. throwing crazy dimes to guys, and all they had to do was catch and shoot and finish. That's it. That's all they had to do. Now, Jimmy ended up going to Notre Dame, not even going to prep school, saying he was going to prep school, but ended up going to Notre Dame that summer. And overall, I'm not saying he beat out Inglesby because the goal was to back up Inglesby, but he ended up beating Inglesby out, and he started more than half his career since his freshman year. And a lot of people don't know that story, but that's the story because, say what you want, any Catholic kid that got a chance to go to Notre Dame and play, that's a dream come true. That's the ultimate Catholic school. That's a dream come true. It's a dream come true. And we talk about this kind of stuff, but that's what this kind of stuff is made of. Just being at the right place at the right time when people are watching you, that's half the battle. You know what I mean? That's half the battle. So, all I can say is, without repeating myself a million times, is if your son or daughter want to make money, they got to be able to shoot. That's number one. They got to be able to have an IQ for the game. That's number two. They got to have a move, not 1,000 moves, a move. A move that's going to work for them. And Jay, you can relate to this. Your little wiggle pull-up game. Yeah, you had that one move worked for you. Or that hard crossover drill you used to do. But the thing about it, the crazy part is, all the players that I had, from guys like Dave Brooks, Jay Joseph, Pat Carroll, Kyle Lowry, I knew what they liked to do, Tyreek Evans. I knew what they liked to do before they shot the ball or when they were going to shoot the ball. You knew that these guys were going to be Division I players if given the opportunity to play, shine, and everything else. And things fall into your lap. All right, I'm going to talk about Jay, because Jay is on here, he's my man. Jay had a chance to go to Pitt. Now, we don't know what would have happened if he would have went to Pitt, one way or another. All I know is Pitt had recruited 2 of the 2 guards at the time. This is my first time telling this story, too. Even to Jay. Never told the story to Jay either. So I went away to St. Martin's. And I told the coach from Pitt, I said, whatever you do, just call me. I'll be back on Monday. Just call me. So what he did was he pressured Jay to sign and commit. So I wasn't mad that Jay signed and commit with Pitt. I said to him, okay, what's his chances of coming in and playing right away, knowing that you just brought in 2 kids to play the same position as him? And I don't think that was a bad question. They got all hypey, pissy. Ben called me, Jamin Dixon called me, and I forgot the other black dude that was there with him. They all, trying to, he's going to come in and give us minutes. They wasn't talking about playing him. Now, on the other side, we had Xavier at the time with Skip Prosser and Jeff Battle. Now, they were the ones saying, oh, yeah, tell him, man, if you can get him to decommit from Pitt, we'll take him. That's Jeff Battle tells him. So I'm telling Jay, yeah, Jay, decommit, blah, 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 I don't think you should go there. I just gave my honest opinion. And long story short, he decommitted, and Xavier pulls the fucking scholarship off the table. Now I'm literally hot. I have never seen Xavier another player ever, because that's how mad I was. And the crazy part is, they had a nerve to recruit Hakeem Warwick the next year. And I'm saying, how the fuck you think you're going to get Hakeem Warwick when you didn't even take care of Jay Joseph? But it's okay. Jeff Jesper's from Philly. That's my guy. I fucks with him. But, it was just fucked up the way they did shit. And but Jay still had a great career at Greensboro and still had that opportunity to make money overseas. You know what I mean? And sometimes God has a plan for you that might not be what you think it is, but it ends up being something that is supposed to be not what you're supposed to not want to be. And then I look at guys like Torrance Johnson, and Chevy Trap. I mean, I had a lot of good players, but these are the teams that I remember most. Dave Brooks, and you know, these were guys that all played together. That's how good my teams were back then. And you know, that's when I knew there was going to be the change of the guard between Philly versus suburbs. Because Philly at that time was loaded with talent, but the suburbs had higher level players coming through. And then there was a change in the Catholic League at the time, where the Catholic League was down a little bit, and then became strong. You know, right around when Eddie Griffin and them came in, it just got real strong. Like, it wasn't just one or two players, it started becoming 3 players or 4 players. And the Catholic League was always like 1 or 2 players. With a public league, certain teams had maybe 4 or 5 players on each team. Certain teams, not all. And then, you know, once Gratz, you know, fell apart a little bit, you know, that's when Roman and everybody else started picking up. And you had guys like Wanamaker Twins and, you know, other guys that were just waiting in the wings. And Roman just started stockpiling, you know, getting guys to wait their turn, making guys believe that they're going to play and everything else. But different era, different time. Doherty was the same thing with all their players that they had. Then all of a sudden, guys start teaming up, going to Penn Charter. Now you start seeing super teams, you know, and all that super team shit just came into play. And I think right now, everybody believes they want to be on a super team, but they're not developed enough to be on those super teams to get that work in. You know what I mean? Because you're only going to perform if you got the ball in your hand. You're not going to perform otherwise. You know what I mean? So think about it. If somebody said they're going to give, I don't give a fuck with the score. If a coach is recruiting my son for high school, right? This is what I would do if I was a Fire. I would say, who do you have, and how many minutes is my son going to play, and is he going to touch the ball? Because if your son is not going to play, or he's got to wait his turn, or he's not going to touch the ball because you have another dude that's scoring 20 and 30 points, and your offense doesn't show that you should be touching the ball, then that's a problem. That's a problem, because now you're sitting in a situation, and it's funny because I look at some of these schools, right? And I'm going to give you a prime example. LaSalle took the kid from Norristown. Now, I like him. I think he's a very good player. Is he going to change LaSalle right away? No, he's not going to change LaSalle right away. He's going to be a nice piece to a team. So he could be a very good role player for LaSalle. But right now, LaSalle need game changers. So does Temple. So does St. Joe's. They need guys that's going to come in and make shots at a high level in order to have some success. If they keep recruiting pieces, sometimes the puzzle never comes together. Before you know it, you out the door looking for a job. You know what I mean? And then with this new transfer portal shit, everybody that's not happy with the coach that don't feel like waiting, they all got up and ran away. So now, if I'm a coach, if I was a coach, this is how I would do my recruiting. Number one, obviously, you look on the portal. So you look on the portal to see what's available. That's the number one thing you should do. Number two, you look at who's available at the elite high school level / prep level. Now, there's a difference between high school basketball and elite high school basketball. So elite high school basketball is where guys come from all over the country to come to a particular school in order to play basketball together. And they compete for the Dix National Championship. Montverde would be considered IMG, Sunrise Christian. You know, there's a bunch of them out here. Even Westtown. Westtown is considered an elite high school situation. Then you have good high school situations like the Catholic leagues in DC, the Catholic leagues in Philly, and I think Boston has a pretty good Catholic league. New York has a pretty good Catholic league. Jersey has a pretty good Catholic league. Jersey had pretty good private schools. So that's considered elite basketball. Then you have regular basketball, like the basic Cheltenham, Abington, Gratz, and some of the charter schools. I don't consider charter schools elite basketball, but I think they're good basketball. So are traditional good high schools. Lower Marion, they're always consistently good, no matter who leaves or who comes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Frisbee, you've been stretching for an hour, bro. Well, start getting shots up. Don't wait for him. You should be dribbling. You should be shooting. God damn. It's crazy. You draw. So, yeah, Keith. Yeah, I see that, Jay. Actually, honestly, that's the kind of school I think Bernie needs to go to. High Point. High Point, Elon, South, St. Joe's, Temple, Fordham. Like anything from Mid-Atlantic 10 on down, I think Bernie would be a superstar because he'll be able to not have to change his game. And I look at Fats Russell. I'm going to tell you something. If you want something similar, now Bernie's a little bit better shooter. Fats, I think, is a little bit more athletic, but it's just not too much of a difference between the two players. And, I look at a kid that can change the game. That's why I say High Point is such a great place. Now, Tubby been looking at his shit. I'm going to actually reach out to Tubby and send some special stuff to Tubby. But, like I said, I'm not going to sit here and wait for the locals to do what they need to do, because when you bring in guys, and I'm going to give you an example. So when you bring in guys to your school and you got local guys that's as good, if not better, that's a problem. You understand what I'm saying? Because, it's just a problem. It's a problem. So if I'm a local, I'm not going to sit there and wait for so-and-so to say, well, I'm going to wait to see if I'm going to offer you. I'm going to decide later on if I'm going to offer you, because I don't offer kids early and I don't want to sweat nobody. What? If they're good enough to get offer them. Now, it doesn't mean the kid has to sign, but understand the kid is empowered. Don't let these coaches force y'all to sign early. You know what I mean? Just like they not taking you right now, or they hesitating to take you. Think about it. I look at some of these kids that signed early to some of these schools. I can promise you there's going to be a lot more kids from Philly transferring that's going to some of these schools out here that will never play or won't be happy once they get there, because they didn't do their research. They didn't do their homework. They took what they thought was going to be the first one or two offers. Now, we could say, well, you got to take what you get. You can't wait. If you wait, you might lose out on some shit. Man, God's will, God's way, man. If you good enough, somebody's going to find you. They're going to find you. You might have to go a different route, like I told you. You might have to go to JUCO. You might have to go to prep school. You might have to go to another school, whatever it takes. But I don't give a fuck what you say. They're going to find you. That's why you got to dictate the situation. You got to go to a school. Think about guys that picked Arizona. Sean Miller gets fired. Guys that picked Indiana. Archie Miller gets fired. Guys that picked Minnesota. Patino gets fired. Guys that picked Penn State. Coach gets fired. Like, look at the trend. You think these guys are still going to go to these particular schools? Now everybody's waiting to see who's going to get these jobs. And there's no guarantee that you're going to like the coach that's coming in, or the coach is going to play to your strengths or your weaknesses. You know what I mean? Honestly, Nelson, it's the simple fact that there's not enough people, and I said this yesterday, there's not enough people that promote other people. So say, for example, if I saw, and I'll give you a classic example, the kid that played for Upper Room signed with LaSalle. The boy could flat out play. So why would I not tell LaSalle and be selfish about it and say, LaSalle, recruit my kid and don't take this kid? I told LaSalle, based on what they needed, that they need to take this kid, because at the end of the day, this kid is a game changer for their program, because he's a shot maker, not a playmaker. Let's listen to what I'm saying. He's a shot maker, not a playmaker. So when you got guys that can make shots, I don't, at the end of the game or whatever, or even during the game, playmakers are only good when you can't get shots off. Once you got one or two playmakers, you got to recruit shot makers and finishers. Those are the only three things that you need to worry about: playmaking, shot making, and finishers. Those are the three most important things. What is he? You got to be one of the three. And I'm not talking about a dude that can just make layups. I'm talking about a dude that can make shots in traffic, floaters, pull-ups, layups, take it to the other side of the rim, finish over bigs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's a finisher. Dunk on people, dunk when he's supposed to dunk, make the play when he's supposed to make. Then you have shot makers, guys that, playmakers that can just, guys like Wooger. Wooger I would consider a playmaker because he can make plays, do a lot of good shit inside, he can make shots, he can score points. Then you have shot makers, shooters, more guys that can, and I would say Wooger's maybe in between playmaker, shot maker. Then you have guys like Sewell, he would be a shot maker. Guys that can still create, crafty, score inside and out, and game changers. So, you don't have a lot of those kind of kids around, so you got to recruit the next best thing. And there's no knock against any kid or any program or any particular kid, but you got to figure out what you are and who you are quickly. And it can't go by what you did in 9th grade and 10th grade and John Lucas Camp and made hoops in 8th grade. Like I see these fathers, they spending all this fucking money to keep these kids on the road, traveling all over the place. Yeah, that travel shit is cool, but what are you doing during the week? Why ain't you working on your son's game? You know what I mean? And then what they try to say is, well, I'm going to repeat him now so he can have that advantage. Yeah, that's all cool, but that shit, you still got to work on your skills. Skills is not going anywhere. You know what I mean? I preached that to my man Ethan Kimball, and I said, listen, bro, no matter what you do, you can't stop working. No matter who wants you to play and what team, and this is my young boy. Like, I love this kid. Like, he's one of my favorite kids, man. And I just tell him all the time, man, stay in the gym. On the weekends, we don't even practice on the weekends. So I don't care who you play with. Like, we had this discussion before. People say, oh, AAU is what kills Sunny Hill. First of all, AAU had nothing to do with Sunny Hill. Sunny Hill, if you knew anything about Sunny Hill, right, they played Monday through Friday. They didn't even play in the fucking weekends. And most AAU tournaments were Saturday, Sunday. Maybe some on Friday, but it was occasional that they played on Friday. So what are you talking about? Why would you say that AAU is the downfall of Sunny Hill? It wasn't AAU. You want to know what it was? It was positive image. It was Greater Philadelphia League. It was all the stuff that they did during the week. It was the PW League that took guys like Kobe 2 nights a week out to the suburbs and not into the city. And they played with their high school teams in these spring leagues. Spring leagues. Because the high school coaches wanted more control. So they played in spring leagues. But if you don't know what's going on, you would just believe what everybody tells you. Now what happened was that the AAU coaches started practicing during the week when they realized that they had a chance to get more time and they could take away from. But most AAU teams don't do a lot of practice during the week because the kids can't get to it because they got high school shit. So they would miss the AAU practices. So you can't blame the AAU coaches for that. It wasn't the AAU coaches' fault. And honestly, it's designed for AAU to have super teams. Nobody said it's wrong for an AAU team to be super. So my thing is, play on the super AAU team and then play on the little team in your neighborhood. Play in the leagues in your neighborhood. That's what we used to do. Play in this league and that league and slide over to this group and that group. That's the way you got to do it. Become a better player. You know what I mean? So when you really think about what I'm saying overall, right? All I'm saying is put yourself in a situation to succeed. Fathers, you are the best trainers. Why? Because you're going to put the most effort in to your son and your kids. Most effort, most money, most everything. So you should never put your faith in somebody else saying, oh, well, I'm going to skip the tournament. No, don't skip no tournaments. Invest in your son. This is why I think Bernie going to be a moneymaker. You know what I mean? This shit ain't normal. And you know what's funny? I realized that no matter what he does, people are going to be critical because this is the nature of life. This is what people do. They hate naturally. They're just natural haters. And what I'm saying is, if you know somebody's good enough, and I understand promoting your own product, but if you know somebody's good enough, you also promote the other product as well. Or you promote your product the other product because you know it's going to help your product. So sometimes it's how you phrase it. So if I say, all right, I'll give an example, right? I like the kid from Phelps. I like the kid from West Town. I like the one kid from Perk School. I like the kid from Scotland. I like the kid from Olympus. But but when you're talking about somebody, right? And I like the coach from Georgia State calls me up, Cliff, calls me up and says, yeah, man, what you think about the kid from Phelps? Now, I could have easily slid a couple names in that conversation to have him look at my kids as well. I wasn't going to do that because he didn't ask me that. He didn't ask me that. He asked me about the kids from Phelps. So when you ask me about the kids from Phelps, that's who I'm going to tell you about. Now, I'm going to wait a little bit, and I'm eventually going to send him some stuff on some of the kids I have because I have more talent than just Bernie. I have a kid named Tarn that's very talented. I have a kid named Cooley that's very talented. Now, both of them got hurt during the season, but they're very talented. Very talented. They all deserve Division I scholarships. And then, I got young kids coming up. Deuce Walker, I got Devin Gillette, and Mark Frisbee, who's here now. That's the other kid in the tank top. They got talent too. You know what I mean? It might not all lead to Division I talent, but it could lead to, Division II or even high-level Division III. But they're better than the average high school kids. You know what I mean? But, what I need guys that's going to say, when coaches say, man, I really need a guard who that's out there, I don't need a guy that's only going to promote their own products. I need a guy that's going to promote my product as well as your product because I would do the same for you. If I saw one of your kids doing well and I think he deserves a scholarship at a certain school, I might say to that coach, man, you need to check out the kid to play for Pride or play for Final or play for Roman or play for Newman, or the kid that just came up and worked out that I didn't even know played for these schools that never got the chance to play. But this is what everything is built off of. You know what I mean? Like we sit here and we oh man, I got a player that's better. Like I heard somebody talk about the kid from McDevitt, right? So just think about this. Seneca played for me. So another kid coming out of McDevitt was offered by Binghamton. The kid, I forgot his name. And he ended up going to Westchester. So long story short, I heard somebody, and I'm not going to say who it is, literally bite this kid's back out, saying the kid wasn't that good, and the kid wasn't this, the kid wasn't that. And I'm sitting here like, are you fucking kidding me? This is what we doing now? So you rather have a kid that don't live in Philly get looked over or not get the scholarship and have a kid that lives somewhere else get the scholarship? Because they gonna give the other kid the scholarship if you say that this kid ain't that good. Because they're trusting your opinion. Now, if you never seen the kid, then sometimes it's better just to remain quiet. Don't say a word. You know what I mean? Like, just don't say nothing about nothing. Like, just stay in your lane if you never seen the kid. But if you've seen the kid, don't bite the kid back out. Because, you know, I didn't really, other than playing against McDevitt once or twice, I didn't really see the kid. So I just told him, because he really did well when he played against us down in Delaware. I said, listen, the kid looked great when he played with us against us in Delaware. He was smooth, he was making shots, he was going to the cup, he was laying people up. And, you know, obviously I watched some of the Catholic League games, but, you know, I'm only giving what I see. Yeah, he looks good enough for me, especially to play at that particular school, which was Binghamton. I will tell you that, Sean Lewis. It was Binghamton. And somebody was literally biting this kid's back out saying, oh, I got a kid that's better. He all right. I think so. Man, man, that's not what we do, bro. That's not what we do. We need to, like, if they talk about that particular kid, let's leave it at that. If they talk about your kid, leave it at that. If I bring up a kid, if you ain't got nothing positive to say, stay out the conversation. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even the one post I put up with Bernie. Like, niggas was, oh, well, who are you playing against? Like, nigga, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. You know what I mean? So it wouldn't matter if the kid does well, does it matter who he's playing against? How about just praising him and just giving him his justice because he had a good game or a couple good games or a good game tape or a good highlight tape? It's more than just one player in our area. You know what I mean? It's a lot more than what we got. It's more than one player. So, you know, like I'll give you another example. Now, somebody had put up Xavier Brown is the best guard in the city. Is there anything wrong with that comment? Of course not, because that's what that person believes. And I'm not one to say he's not. You're not one to say he's not. Nobody is not anything where they can say this kid is not what he's supposed to be. So therefore, let him be him. And he very well might be. Exactly. Who are we to say he's not until we start matching up, start seeing mano on mano. And I'm not talking about like mano, like one team against another team. I'm talking straight one-on-one, full court, shot for shot, drill for drill. That's the only way you'll start seeing who's better. And then you go 5-on-5 with an unscripted team, and you say, okay, I see so-and-so has a better IQ, or I see so-and-so have a better handle, I see so-and-so got a better jump shot. And you still might not be able to decide because all guards play different. And this is my example. Kyrie Irving. You have Kyrie, you have Curry, you have the other boy from, you know what I'm talking about. It skips my mind now, but Portland. So when you got all these dudes, right, depending on what you like in a player, that's going to be who you pick. I mean, it's hard to say who's better, the best point guard in the NBA right now based on who I see. Because everybody's a good guard. That's the level you want to be at, just like even in college. Everybody's a good guard. Everybody's a good player. They might not be at the right level, but it comes into play at the level that you're at. I mean, look at Colin. Colin didn't have a lot of schools recruiting him, but he goes to Villanova and he emerged as a star. And there's always going to be, you know, people that question, you know, would he have been the same player at Rider or Maine or whoever else was recruiting him? He might not have even been the same player. Yeah, Lillard. But you understand what I'm saying? You're putting places to fit a piece of the puzzle. Like you're putting on a team to fit a piece of the puzzle. So when you're trying to get a piece of the puzzle, can you go a little faster? You're trying to put yourself in a piece of the puzzle in order to fit what a coach is looking for. There was a reason why Chris Arch started over Brian Anton, who's a McDonald's All-American. Now, I don't know the fucking reason, but Jay obviously knew the reason. And I guess he figured Chris would run the offense better than that's Frisbee, Mark Frisbee. But long story short, people, you can't tell a coach who's better than who until the coach decides who's going to fit into what puzzle. You know what I mean? Like, let's keep that shit real. He wouldn't be who he. You talking about the kid? Who you talking about? The boy from Ryder? Like Ryder to me? Now I'm gonna tell you how crazy this is. So Bernard went to St. Joe's, right? Now if you saw St. Joe's play, they have nobody like this, and that's no knock against the other guard there or Damir Bishop. No knock against none of these guys, but they have playmakers, not shot makers. And then they have like Jordan Hall. I love Jordan Hall. Jordan Hall was just up here last week, and I think he's a very, very good ball handler. Like if he really spent some time working on his shot, like getting his shot off, and he could be special. He could do a lot of things. But long story short, I'm looking at some of these schools. Bernie tired. Come on, Bernie, got push. I'm looking at some of these schools, right? And I'm saying, what do they need in order to have success? Look at the kid Cerruti. Kid Cerruti emerged out of Lock Haven to go to Albany. Drexel should have taken him right from the rip. And that's no knock to Cerruti or Drexel. It's just sometimes you got to look at a kid and look at his long-term potential and not short-term potential. Did he get bigger? Did he get stronger? Did he get older? Of course. But that's what you need to recruit, a kid that has a skill level that's going to help you down the road. Don't wait till he gets 21, 22 years old to say, oh, we want you now, when you could have had him when he was 18 and 19. And this is the way the game has become. Like coaches, we hear Dell say this all the time, coaches not looking at high school kids. Well, Bernie ain't a high school kid. Bernie ain't a high school kid. That's all I'm saying. You look at Sewell and Jalen, they're older than the average high school kid. Older. Most guys that have success are 19 years old, not 17. The last two dudes I knew had success at 17 years old was Kobe Bryant, Rip Hamilton, that graduated at 17. That's rare. But when you look at Donnie Carr and Yah Davis, they were 19. You know what I mean? When they graduated, or going on 19, whatever the case may be. So, that early birthday, late birthday shit, that means that's a big difference. Repeating the grade in high school right now is not necessarily gonna help you because most of the time you're not able to play your senior year. Most of the time. Sometimes they bypass it. And then sometimes charter schools and some private schools are not the move. They used to be the move back in the day. Sean Singletary repeated the grade. Rob Kurz repeated the grade. They had successful careers at high-level schools because they repeated the grade. I remember there was a Division I coach that told me that Sean Singletary wasn't even a Division I player. Now, he tried to deny it years later, but that's one statement I will never forget because I used it to tell his mom what he needed to do. You know what I mean? I used that statement to tell his mom, listen, Mom, this is what they think about your son. This is what you should do. And God rest her soul. That's how, before she passed away, she told me, she said, Sam, you saved my son's life. Thank you. Thank you. You know what I mean? She said, thank you. And that's all I can ask for. And guess what? Sean didn't even play AAU. He only played AAU for me for 1 year. And then I sent him to the players. 1 year. And that's when I ended up taking Kyle and Shane instead of Sean, because I had to do what was best for Sean. And that class was loaded that year with guys like Bilal and Tabby and Adonell and Sean White and all these other guys that played on that particular team. You know what I mean? So, I'm just saying, just before I end this broadcast, man, keep an open mind, bro. You know what I mean? Keep an open mind. Don't be afraid to ask questions. If you email me in my inbox, I'll answer your questions. You know what I mean? And it had nothing to do with prep school. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to fill up regardless. So I don't really, need to have a bunch of local kids in my prep school trying to live a dream out here. You know what's funny, Wes? I was looking at Kyle Kuzma last night, right? Now, a lot of people in the city don't know I had Kyle Kuzma, unless you've seen him in the All-Star game that he started playing with. Thanks to Jamie Boyer doing his first highlight tape. You know what I mean? Like Jamie, I have to admit, shared the same vision I shared. And looking at kids and looking at players. And, as a fan, most people love how crafty guys are. Like, if you crafty, you're going to always look good in the hood. Now, if you can shoot, depending on what kind of game it is, you're not going to look as pretty. And I think that's where it wasn't the same, so to speak. I don't think that's where, like even when I first saw Colin in Charles Monroe's game, I was like, how did this kid make the All-Star team? Like, who is he? Like, where did he come from? And I'll never forget this conversation. Stan Jones and Torrey Harris, they came back from camp, and they said, I was saying, I don't know how he made the All-Star team, right? He said, Sam, did you ever see him really play? I said, nah, not other than the All-Star game. He said, he might be the best guard in the city. Like, he is that good. Like, both of them is coming back telling me, these are two guys that I really trust. Both of them came back to me and told me the same thing. So me being me, I trust guys like that. Like, I trust people's opinion because, that's the only way I can gauge how people feel about a particular player. Like, if enough people say somebody ain't shit, then I'm going to believe they ain't shit. Or they overrated, I'm going to believe they overrated. If they good, I'm going to believe they good. Until I see for myself. And then maybe I'll see what they're seeing. You know what I mean? But, like, once they say that, it's that little pole joint I was talking about. Once they say how good the kid is, he plays against Abington. He scorches Abington. Get a dunk and all that shit. After I watched him play against the kid that's going to Villanova, Javon. And I'm saying, Ash, what y'all waiting on? Like, what's the hesitation, bro? Like, the ball can play. Like, what's there to think about? You know what I mean? Like, real rap. What is there to think about? Nothing I can say is that, I was impressed. And then I tell you what else impressed me when he played in the Philly, New York game against the Jelly fan. And I'm like, he might be better than Quad A. Well, that opened up a can of worms. You know what I mean? Because I'm looking at him like, he might be better. We could leave that. I'm not even going to talk about that now, but we could leave that to the thought, even though I think he had a better career, who was better at that time. But, that was another conversation in itself. You know what I mean? But I got to go. Yeah, Wes, I got you. You know what I mean? Like, Sean, I appreciate y'all watching, man. All y'all good brothers out here doing y'all thing. I'm always watching what y'all saying, what y'all doing, man. I might not always chime in. But, you guys like Boo, Dell, all you dudes, man, I like what y'all do because y'all bring a different edge to the game. You know what I mean? Y'all bring a different opinion, bring a different edge. And, without y'all, loyalty y'all have towards certain programs like Roman, like the kids that went to Roman. And they bring up thought, like, you know what I mean? Like the Eddie Griffin versus Jalen thing, that's a good conversation. You know what I mean? That's a great conversation. And honestly, I mean, I've seen both play, and I'm an Eddie fan because Eddie could really, really shoot the ball a lot better than most people thought. Man, listen, that's a conversation in itself. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna end that because this is their hot shit. I wanna watch it. So I'll see y'all later, man. God bless y'all, man. Have a good day.